forward them to you too.
Yeah, this gives you a nice overview of the whoever hasn't played the game. Like, these are the skills, the basic skills of SpongeBob. So this level,
the rolling green
I'll let him
hills
talk.
of Jellyfish Fields, a place to experience nature at its most raw, and sometimes a bit tender from the stings.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay, you barnacle head. Do I look like I'm okay?
Well, according to the Jellyfisher Field Manual, severe jellyfish stings can be treated effectively by applying a thick layer of King Jellyfish jelly to the affected areas. King Jellyfish?
Well, I guess you're off to scale Sport Mountain and die a horrible death under the vicious tentacles of King Jellyfish. I'll stay here, balled up here in excruciating pain.
Okay, so now we're in gameplay mode. We already said or already found out it's not possible to skip the intro here, so we're gonna see this a few times. Maybe just for our production crew, can we have the gameplay sound a little less loud on the phones, please? Oh, there's so many questions. Can you see them already? That's really a lot. I tried to note some of them down. Yeah, as I said, I will forward them to you. So I don't know where to begin here. People actually were happy about some of the features they saw. One of them is the ledge grab, for example. They saw the ledge grab and there was a short hype for this, so that when SpongeBob should fall off the ledge and he grabs it and still can hold on to it, they loved that feature very much. So
yeah,
this is the detail level we're on, right? So this is what people are really excited for.
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously it's a cult classic, so we don't, you know, completely redo anything in a very different way. It's really about the small details that basically just help you play the game in a modern way, but still have the feeling that you had when you played it back then. So this just means that we are working a lot on the camera so that you don't need the right stick that much. You don't need to control the camera much. You can play most of the game just with one, as Andrew is demonstrating here skillfully. You can basically just use the left stick. And these are things that don't actually, you know, change the way you perceive the entire game and the dialogues and all the stuff that happened, the way that you remember it. But that just makes it a smoother experience. And the ledge hold is one of those things. Mm-hmm. The original was a tough game. It was a hard game. There's no doubt about it. With some steep difficulty spikes in kelp forest and stuff like this. So these are the things that we're looking at. But all in all, it's really about just bringing back one of the best 3D platformers ever made and the best SpongeBob game, in my opinion, in the best looking way. And Purple Lamp are doing an exceptional job, as you can see.
Oh, we can just ask this the chat in this direction, like if they consider this not only the remake, but also the original game, the best SpongeBob game out there? That's a good question, so we should ask this to the chat. You can just answer with plus or minus. If you think this is the best SpongeBob game out there, then please answer with a plus. If not, then with a minus. We'll see. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. And they also...
Plus.
They are also looking for or asking for a public demo. Do you guys know? I mean, I wanted to talk about release and stuff like that in the end, but is there other plans to have maybe at some point a public demo or beta or something out?
Currently, you can play it here, of course. So everybody who's here and who's willing to go through a queue of about 2 to 3 hours currently. Can play exactly the demo that Andrew is playing here. I don't know if I can't confirm yet any plans for a beta or anything like this. We might, as we have a new multiplayer in the game. So we're keeping the original story campaign as completely as it were. But what we're doing is we're restoring little deleted scenes, if you will, like the Robo-Squidward fight that people know from the concept art, but that was never created. And as well, the longer version of Patrick's Dream, which you could hack into. If you hacked the old game, you could find this broken level that wasn't really playable, but that was, you know, it's enough to see like what they kind of wanted to do. So we're just rebuilding that properly, but that's all, you know, outside of the main experience, which should stay untouched, because you don't draw a mustache on Mona Lisa. And with the multiplayer, I think that might be the first thing where we invite a few more people to play, so we can just see how people like the new Horde mode, where it's just you and a friend, either like this on a couch or via online, and you just go and defeat hordes of robots.
Okay.
As SpongeBob, Sandy, or Patrick, whichever you prefer.
So there's gonna be a whole new mode, so it's not gonna be in the adventure mode, but it's just like something
exactly.
different.
It's just, we thought like, you know, the age range of people who love this game is pretty wide.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, fathers who was their first favorite game back then. They want to now play it with their kid and all this kind of stuff. So when we announced the fact that there will be a multiplayer, that was one of the biggest moments of excitement that we saw. Like a lot of fans said like, oh yes, finally we can play it together as well.
But okay, it's online and couch co-op, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, because then you have options. Like we were talking about couch co-op before, and I think it's not happening as often anymore that people really sit together. But if it's possible, I think people will sometimes make use of it, right? If it's a fun game, and even here, especially when it's a rather casual approach to game, right? Then it can really be fun.
That you're ready to tackle King Jellyfish?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were actually having a Q quiz downstairs earlier this day. And we were asking quiz questions to the people waiting in the lines. And if they answer correctly, they got a fast path to move forward to the front of the line.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty cool, right? And there was also a question about Bubble Buddy, and they weren't able to answer it. So they were asked how the name is of him. What's his name? Kumpelblase is it in Germany. Yes. They didn't know the German, they didn't know the English phrase, so they didn't advance. So it was too bad. Okay, now we're seeing the boss fight here.
Can we turn down the game a little bit more?
Yeah, it's still
pretty loud.
The overall sound volume is pretty high.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
So we can see some of the the changes which we actually made in terms of differentiating it from the original, which is essentially feedback that the player is having. So when the shield is up, the effect which is on the Jellyfish King is stronger than it used to be, and it's much more visible. So it's this idea of taking the game and not changing it mechanically and making sure that it still feels like the game, because we're big fans of that and we love the original, while slightly modernizing it. And that's primarily things like these visuals. Memory cards aren't a thing anymore, so save points, you know, are a different necessity than they used to be.
Because you can, for example, in that fight, see now clearly that once he shoots at you, once he does his wave, that his upper part is vulnerable, but his legs are still dangerous.
Yeah.
And that was something that for many people, like when they now played it, when we first reproduced it exactly like in the original, people landed on the tentacles and they were like, why does this still hurt me?
Yeah.
So we wanted to show them clearly, you know, he might be vulnerable on his head, but the tentacles are still dangerous. So these are the little things that just also to make the game playable for really young kids and everything.
It actually was a little difficult for me to hit him at the first approach I think the timing of my jump was not correct, and so I always landed on his tentacles, and then
They need a double
he got
jump.
me.
Double
So I knew I had to jump, but I didn't perform it correctly. So that was actually really frustrating because I was so short on time that this cost me the win.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, the original wasn't an easy game. So obviously we're making it a little easier in terms of save points and the pixel perfect jumping that was required on the PS2. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a breeze. It should still be, there should be a bit of a challenge, just like it was back then, because otherwise it's not the same game.
Yes.
So you still need a bit of trial and error, or like trying around, and a bit of skill to survive the fight.
To learn how
But
the
you see
boss
the bigger,
behaves.
do you see the bigger gap between his tentacles? That is where you shall land.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the tip here. It's a little spoiler though, but no, I'm good. I'm good.
We'll spoil the very first one. The rest of them you're going to figure out
There's
yourself.
still like 7 different boss fights to come, so
Cool.
it's okay if we spoil that one. So this is one of the bosses that is straight out of the series. So it's the Jellyfish King and the Flying Dutchman. But then you've got Robo Sandy, Robo Patrick, Robo SpongeBob, and Robo Plankton. So you've got these mecha versions of the main characters that you defeat, and they are also very, very iconic kind of characters from the game, because they only exist in the game. So all these robots and the tikis, so the little the little wooden faces that you destroy, they are really unique to the game. They're not from the series. So this was, I think, one of the biggest things that how the team is really recreating these PS2 models, which didn't have that much detail.